All right, so from the slide before this, you read that a perfect square trinomial is a trinomial that factors into two identical binomial factors. So if we were to do Lizzie method or split method on this problem, what we would see is that both of our factors would end up being the same. So what I'm going to teach you today is a shortcut to essentially skip having to find those factors and just go straight to the answer. So the first two steps are going to be the same as all of the quadratics that we've been doing. Find a GCF and make sure that it's in standard form. So for this one, it's in standard form and we don't have a GCF. So the next step, when you're realizing it's a perfect square trinomial, you want to always look at A and C. Okay? So AX squared and C should both be perfect squares. So 1x squared is a perfect square and 49 is a perfect square. So that's our first sign that this could be a perfect square trinomial. Okay, so what we can do next is actually take the square root of our first term and the square root of our last term. So we would get 1x, and over here we would get 7. Now, in order to check and make sure that it actually is a perfect square trinomial, what we can do is take x and 7, multiply them together, and multiply them by 2, and what we should get is our middle term. So we should get b as our answer. Okay, so x times 7 would be 7x, times 2 would be 14x. So check, that's our middle term. Okay, so now we can jump straight to our answer. So this x and 7 is going to produce our factor. So our answer for our factored form will be x, and then you always take the sign of b. So since b is positive, it's going to be plus 7 squared equals 0. So this would be our factored form. Now this is the same thing as writing x plus 7 times x plus 7. So if you were to work it out using another method, you would probably get the second one as your factored form, but this is just a shorter way to write your factored form. Okay, so now to get the solutions, it's identical to what we were doing before. So you would take your factors and set them equal to 0 and solve. Well, if you're looking at this one, you can notice that if we set both of our factors equal to 0, we're going to get the same answer. So really, you only need to do it once. So we can subtract 7, and x equals -7 would be my solution. So perfect square trinomials are only going to have one solution.